All right, I'm calling the January 9th, 2025 meeting of the Affordable Housing Trust to order 5:05. Present in the room,
Paul Armstrong.
Nicholas LaJoy.
and Jean Landis Nauman. You guys can help me watch to see if the others come in. Okay, so the first order of business is the minutes of our last meeting, well, our last regular meeting, which was November 7th. I trust you've had a chance to take a look at them. You read every word so carefully, right? All right, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve as presented.
All right, got a second?
Second.
All right, we'll take a voice vote. Paul,
No, Armstrong,
Nicholas LaJoy, aye.
Jean Landis Nauman, aye. Okay, so that's 3-0. Okay, the Declaration of Trust is the next item. I want to let you know that the declaration was registered with the Registry of Deeds in Plymouth in early December. They said it was effective immediately. And after whatever they do there, they were going to send a copy back to the Board of Selectmen's office. So we're all set. We're legal. So if we need to transact any business, we're good to go. Okay. All right. I'm going to skip over the next one, the new Affordable Homes Act. If we have time, we can talk about that. At the November special town meeting, as you know, the article on adopting the MBTA zoning passed.
You see in the paper that the Supreme Court decided that it was legitimate for them to do that, but that the process they followed was flawed.
Right.
So
Yeah. So we'll have to see how quickly they can remedy that, how they're going to do it.
I think it was.
It was
the
a-
flawed part wasn't that part, was the part where they're making regulations and the rules. That, you know, if you don't do this, you can't do this.
Right.
You won't give you this.
Yeah, and
that
apparently
stuff.
it wasn't properly vetted or publicized, so yeah, they're gonna have to go back through that, but it still has teeth because this is a court case with Milton, and so there are several other towns around us who have voted against it. So we'll have to see what the fallout is there. I think I mentioned to you that Halifax had gotten a grant, something to do with the schools, and they were concerned that it would be pulled back if town meeting there voted against the MBTA, and so they had it switched over to Kingston. So, and in fact, they did vote against the MBTA, so they salvaged the grant by us taking it over in Kingston.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, there are consequences.
Yeah.
And I thought there was a compelling argument made at town meeting as to, you know, and the explanation of all the work that our town planner had done to really help it fit our community without being a huge burden, putting it in the right place to not impact other residential areas. And so I really applauded Val for the work she did on that. And they said other towns were carefully observing how she had.
If you get 1 minute into the sidelight, was an article in Plymouth, because they have a train station, but they're not using it. So now they're an adjacent community. So they have to do 2,000 units.
Right.
If they start the T back up and go down to Plymouth,
It's
the
more.
train go up, the amount of units will go from 2,000 to like 6,000 or 8,000.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
Huge.
And the fact that they already did put all that housing right there by the train station. I mean, I would think they would try and have that incorporated, just like
Yeah.
Val had ours incorporated, so. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a very large number.
It's like 18,000.
Yeah.
I thought that was part of the appeal of that development at the time.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
The station was.
Well,
Nobody's gonna
yeah.
use the roads
Yeah.
in Kingston, they're all gonna take the.
Right, and I mean, people moved in there thinking they were gonna be able to commute by train.
Yeah.
And then they closed it, and there's really, I've been reading the articles too about it, and the state really has no interest in reopening it.
Every time,
Yeah,
there's
well,
progress.
the schedule was so
It's
odd.
every other train.
It wasn't even every other train. There was only like 2 or 3
There's
that went into
2 or 3 in
Plymouth.
the morning, maybe 2 or 3 in the
Right.
afternoon.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they're saying that the one, it's so close to the one in Kingston, people
Yeah.
can drive. So we're back with road traffic on 3A, which was the whole point of
Yeah.
putting the train station in.
Mine
But
is-
yeah, I mean, for the people who bought there thinking that they were just gonna be able to walk to the train station to commute. Yeah, yeah. All right, so what else was on the special town meeting, Paul? That was, there wasn't anything with ADUs, right? But what about the other zoning?
The ADUs that the town had passed at the annual. they
Right,
heard-
right,
They
and
finally heard back that it was okay,
Okay,
but it needs to be tweaked some
okay.
because of the state.
Well, I knew you said
Change.
Val was working on that, but that was
Yeah.
not presented at the special. That'll be at the end,
No, because she was still waiting to hear what.
if they were okay with it.
Yeah, so that'll be tweaked again.
Sheila just popped.
Okay, thanks. Hi, Sheila.
Hi, I'm so sorry I'm late. It's been a day.
That's all right. I'm glad you could join us. We had just covered the minutes of our regular meeting in November. I informed everyone that the declaration of trust was registered in early December. It was effective immediately. And we were just talking about town bylaws and what happened at the special town meeting in November. So we.
Okay.
we
And
covered-
yeah, I emailed you the executive session meeting minutes.
Yes,
And I just wanted you to take a look at them before because I don't know if we'll actually distribute them. It's up to you. I guess it's up to the committee, but I just wanted to let you know I did finish them for you to look them over. So sorry it's so late.
that's all right. Thank you. I had forgotten you had volunteered to do that, and I appreciate it because my memory of that meeting was a little foggy. I was in bed with COVID.
Oh, right. I know Eric is on a cruise somewhere.
Oh, he is. Okay. All right. So that's why he's not here tonight. And Nathan has tendered his resignation. He has moved out of Kingston.
Oh my gosh.
We knew
Wow, I
he was
didn't
going
know.
to. He told us.
Well,
It's
good for
moved out of
him. I'm
country.
excited for him that whatever town he's going to, lucky them.
I think it's Australia.
Now I'm really jealous.
Yeah, he's really going. So back to the special town meeting, we did also vote on, there was a section of some of the zoning that was no longer acceptable.
Oh,
And
that was the scheduled growth. I'm
Yes.
trying to think what it was.
Yes, you're
I'm
right.
trying to think of the name for it, but it was impossible to actually administer it
Right.
because you could only build up to 20 units a year and you can only do 20% a year. So if somebody put in a development,
Mhm.
they could only produce 20% of them each year, so it would take you 5 years to finish the development.
Right, so that was,
Yeah, it was
removed.
it was like 1980s and 90s
Okay.
zoning back when the boom was on for single families, so.
Yeah.
They actually, I think the state required that to be removed before they entertain some other thing.
Yeah, okay. All right,
We weren't enforcing it because we're just unenforceable.
right. Yeah, so I knew there were two housing zoning issues at the special town meeting, so those both passed. Okay, moving on to the planning board. So I forwarded to you a string of emails from Val. If you'll recall, some time ago, she applied for a grant to update the housing production plan. And she had asked us to pledge a certain amount as a matching, which we did vote to do. Well, she still hasn't heard anything on the grant, and she's getting a little concerned about the time frame for getting this plan completed. And so she sent out a proposal of a schedule and an initial draft survey, which you should have all received, right? You received that?
Yes.
Okay. So to tell you the truth, I have not spent any time. I thought I was going to have time today at the doctor's office, but I didn't. So I think, if we could each take a look at her survey, see if there's any recommendations we want to make to her sooner rather than later. Then she proposed a schedule for all of the outreach meetings that she would have to do. I also, I think in that string of emails was her request to OCPC to help in finding funding to do the housing production plan. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think how much it cost the last time. I think it's under 100,000, but it's a significant amount. She said she's also going to be discussing it at the planning board meeting next Monday night to see if there's any funding there in the community improvement fund. When a builder comes in, they can, instead of building a sidewalk or whatever, they can give you money for community improvement. So she's been back and forth with Old Colony Planning Council and the planning board. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that, that she's planning on moving ahead with that. But I think the most important thing we could do right now is to take a look at her proposed survey, see if there's any recommendations we would make on that. And you can just respond to her directly. You don't have to respond to me. Any questions on that? Because I think ours expires in 2026.
Usually, we're not that efficient.
Yeah, well, I think because of the lack of other activities, development in town, she was able to really focus on that one. Okay, that's the only thing I know of planning board. There are a couple things in front of the ZBA, but they require additional water. And as we know, there's a water moratorium, so. And I think with the developments that they're proposing, they probably wouldn't need water until the moratorium's lifted, which hopefully will be 2026. What are you hearing, Paul?
Yeah. I hope.
Yeah. So we'll just have to keep an eye on what's happening there. They're both 40Bs, obviously. That's why they're in front of the ZBA. And see where they go. Because they're 40Bs, there's really not a lot of activity that we can participate in there. Where I am, interested is, obviously we had an executive meeting, executive session meeting on December 9th. We heard from two different parties on possible housing proposals, one with Habitat and one that the town is doing. And I think they both have possibilities for us. In talking with Habitat, if they're, if everything goes the way they're hoping it will go, they would probably be looking for some funding in 2026, not 2025. Because again, what they're proposing is going to require some water and that sort of thing. And so, they're looking for, certain amount of money towards what they're doing there. As far as the other project, we'll be meeting again in executive session with the selectmen and Conscom next Tuesday at 5 o'clock in room 101 to see about an update on that possibility. So we finally are seeing some activity. And again, both of those hopefully will be able to move ahead with the prospect of the water moratorium being lifted by the time they need the water connections, because both of them will require more than the existing water connections there. I did talk to one of the sewer commissioners over the weekend, and they're definitely looking for some connections because their whole plan had been based on new connections. And with the water moratorium, that has really put them behind the 8 ball to the point where they're struggling financially and having to look at increasing the rates for their current users. So they're most anxious to see the water moratorium lifted also. But they do have capacity, but the thing is, I'm not sure either of these projects are, one project may be on sewer, the other one I don't think is on sewer. So, no. So, but they are looking for additional business, and I didn't say exactly what the project was. I just said there was a possibility of a project coming along. Okay. Anything else on that? Habitat, Amy was going to join us tonight, but she didn't really have an update on anything they're doing. So I told her it was fine. Anything else on planning board, or are you hearing anything?
No,
Housing proposals, planning board?
no,
No, okay.
nothing new.
Nothing new. Okay. How about Mass Housing Partnership? They offered 3 lunchtime webinars in December, and I sat in on all of them. Not necessarily sitting up, but I did join those meetings. One on the 11th, was about establishing trust goals and strategies. Our friend Shelley Goring was in charge of these webinars, and I thought they were very well done, very informative, and they are available on the Mass Housing Partnership website under local services, I think it is. So if you want to sit through these, they had someone from Amherst talking about their affordable housing trust, and they're in a very different situation in Amherst. And then the second one was Marshfield, and again, a slightly different situation. We had met with them.
Are they still trying to do it the same way they're doing it?
Well, they now have an actual trust, and the town administrator is on their trust. that's what I was seeing in a lot of towns. This town administrator is one of the members and often the chairperson of the Affordable Housing Trust. Prior to, okay, didn't want affordable housing, build, used existing housing, which is what we had been told about. They're at 10.8% affordable housing, but they have a lot of,
Who does?
Marshfield, but they
Yeah.
have a lot of housing complexes, particularly for seniors up there. Their emphasis right now is helping the public understand what is affordable housing. I think this is going to be an ongoing issue forever, because people just see affordable. Well, that must mean that they're subsidized, and in one way they are, but it's not the same as Section 8 type of housing. These are people that are able to handle the mortgage. Then they also have a housing coordinator, as does Amherst, which again makes a difference. If you've got someone on staff in the town hall all the time working on affordable housing, it's just a real game changer as opposed to what we're trying to do. They work with the Metro Planning Council, and they have municipal property that they want to use for up to 50 units. And again, that's where we don't have that type of resource here for us to use. They have 7 members and they have staff support, which is funded by CPC. And then they were talking about development that was done in Bridgewater, which is a prior school. And MAPC,
Metropolitan area planning.
yes, okay. They're looking to establish an office on the South Shore for monitoring some of the affordable housing units.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. When I was a selectman, I had strongly urged the town to consider joining the
Yeah.
Metropolitan Area Planning Council, but that did not meet with agreement. And at that time, the Old Colony Planning Council wasn't nearly as active or as well staffed as they are now, so.
They're a little bit more focused on other places rather than the periphery.
Right. So that was on the 11th. Then on the 18th, it was a long session on the open meeting law. Which, I think we've all been involved in for a while, so we understand the open meeting law and what you can and cannot do. So I didn't sit through the whole thing.
Interestingly enough, for a while there, we were going to, was it to the Ethics Commission? Every year you had to retake online, a little question and answer and test.
Yeah,
Are they still doing that?
not that I'm aware of.
Just to
I'm
remind
not
everybody
even
so.
aware that they're doing yearly training. It used to be that who's our attorney? Jay would come to room 200 and do training for everyone
And then the
involved.
state required that you take this online course. So
Right.
It didn't take long. an
Right.
hour.
I think that happens when you come on board. Did you have you do that?
So in Boston, I believe it's biannual. We have
Okay.
to sit through the PowerPoint
Okay,
and,
as
Take the
as
test.
a condition of your employment?
yeah,
Okay. Well, here they were doing it not only for the staff, but also for all the boards and
Everybody.
committees.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Inspectors are.
yeah. Sheila, do you know if they're continuing to do that? I don't remember seeing anything that they were sponsoring.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything either. Can probably ask, but yeah, that is odd.
Well, mean, there have been changes in committee members and elected officials.
Well, I just got like an ethics thing from Patricia like today saying I needed to do like an ethics training, but nothing else besides that.
Okay, all right. I know there's a certain amount that you're supposed to do when you first get sworn in to a or board. But there was ongoing training here for a long
Yeah,
time,
we
just
did.
as refresher training, because if you're not,
Yeah, the
I
MAA,
think-
yeah. I was part of the MMA for a long time, like the municipal, ever since I wasn't a selectman, I don't think I can be on it anymore. Like I used to go to any webinar that they would allow me to go to listen to, especially, when you knew about like executive session and like open meeting law, those types of things, I think are really great to be able to hear and listen to. But sometimes if you're not part of MMA, it's hard to get those things. But I know we had like one training where they came in and talked to us for but yeah, but I haven't seen that in a while.
yeah, do you know, are we able to access resources through MMA? I know the town is a member of MMA.
Yeah, the town is, and I used to be a member as a selectman, but then I don't know, I haven't been able to access it since I haven't been a selectman anymore, but it'd be great if I still could because we are still part of committees here for the town, but
Yeah, but I'll send an email to Keith, find out what's going on there, because again, there's a lot of great resources there. I used to go to the meeting that they would have in January, go to some of their webinars.
I would love their webinars. I would just listen during lunch. I'm kind of like one of those people that just love something to like listen to at lunchtime, or they did a lot with the MBTA communities and stuff when I was down there. Like just it's really great resources because we can hear what's going on. So yeah, that would be great if you had that because I would love to be able to still
Yeah,
use those
I'll
resources.
check with Keith on that one.
Especially for new members of different committees too. Like I'm new to the Affordable Housing Trust, but like I was, again, I was on school committee forever, but those types of things, sometimes it's really great if you can have a little bit of background from other committees. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, and the first session was on the Affordable Housing Trust and accessing CPC funds, which we've been doing for quite some time. Just some restrictions on when you're utilizing CPC funds solely, which is our only source of funding. So not only do we have to follow all the regular rules, but we have to follow the CPC rules too, as to what can be purchased with their funding. So again, that was all, that was the first session. So again, those 3 webinars are available to you on the MHP website. And before I leave them, they have a Housing Institute, June 4th and 5th. It is in Worcester. It is in person. And if you're interested in attending, you can go on to their website, take a look at what's being offered. And if there is a fee, let us know and see if we can't cover that for you. Okay, so they have a lot of very talented people, a lot of good information at Mass Housing Partnership. Okay, and before we all right, CPC. I'll be meeting with them at 6:30. Sheila, you too? All right.
Yes, I will be jumping out of this meeting and running down there to get there. So I might be a couple minutes late, but as soon as we're done with our meeting, I'm gonna jump in my car.
Okay. All right. So, as you know, we're obligated to provide a quarterly report to the CPC on our activities. I did draft one, send it out to you for review. Do you have anything to offer to enhance our report? Okay, if you do, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to try and get it off to them as soon as possible. It's one more thing off my to-do list. It was also time for every department and committee to submit their annual report for inclusion in the town report book. So I did complete that. Did I send that out to you guys too?
Don't remember seeing that.
Okay. Do you want to see it? I can send it to you.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you for being me out.
Yeah, just not along.
Yeah, it just talks about a little bit about what we do and it goes in that annual book. So that's always due in very early January. See if there's anything else. I don't have anything else from Val. In fact, I did not reach out to her to see if there's anything on that. So our housing plan expires February 21st, 26th. So that's why she's anxious to get moving, because it does take about a year to do all the steps that you have to do and get it written up.
And then ignore it,
And have them ignore it.
no matter what you try.
Yeah,
Not in my backyard.
yeah. She had told us in July that they're doing a corridor study of Route 3A and 53. Do we know where that stands?
No, really.
No, okay. All right, I'll reach out to her for an update on the July. She had given us a few things that she was working on. Okay, is there anything else under any of these, any other housing issues? No? No?
Nope, I'm good.
Nick,
I know
did
that,
you-
I will say that the school committees are meeting about their budgets. Kingston just met last week and the Silver Lake's meeting tonight, and they're not looking, they're looking very big.
Yes, there was something on Facebook about the decrease. There were 3 tiers and
Yeah,
1.7 million, I think.
1.7 million differential. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really fun meeting. 18
Yeah.
teachers, 18, well, a lot of cuts, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Silver Lake's tonight, but they don't do theirs. They don't have theirs recorded, so it's hard. Like you have to physically go there. So the public budget meeting is next month. So I'm not gonna go right now, but I want to go to both. So I want to see them all. But then it's hard when you don't get recorded because then you can't see them.
Yeah, how come they don't have to record theirs?
I guess because it's something with Halifax and Plimpton because it's regional.
Oh,
So because we have our mandate in our town, but not in their town, because I asked about that. So
I thought it was a state mandate.
we made it in our town a mandate to
Okay,
have it be for every committee for our town. But and I think it was at a town meeting, but I don't think Halifax and Plimpton haven't. But I know they record it, but it's after the fact, and I like to
Yeah.
see it in real time. But again,
well, I think, yeah, the state, their allowance of this process expires in March, so be anxious to see what happens. I think it would be a shame if we lost the ability to have Zoom attendance and recording. I mean, it just talk about transparency and allowing the whole public to either sit in on a meeting or see what happened at a meeting. I just would hate to lose that. I see no harm in what we're doing. So I'm hoping that the state will see it that way and that Kingston will continue to see it that way. All right, so again, just reminder, our next executive board meeting is on the 14th. That's next Tuesday at 5 o'clock in room 1. And then our next regular meeting, we were late this month. We had decided we didn't want to meet in January 2nd. So Our next meeting would normally be February 6th.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else to come before this group tonight?
I'm good. I'm gonna, as soon as we adjourn, I'm gonna hop in the car and
Take
head
off.
down there. Take off.
Okay.
I'm about 35 minutes. I'm on Cape, but it's not too bad.
Okay, so I just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second on that?
Second that.
Okay, voice vote, Sheila,
Yes.
Hold on.
Nick, I.
Jean, I, very good.